And hello and welcome. If this is your first time watching the channel, which it might be, this is only the second time we've played Farthest Frontier, or played a run of Farthest Frontier. This time we're playing on 1.0, which is the release version, so people searching for the game, because the game is in theory technically now out and no longer in early access, may happen to run up on this video. So this is the first time finding this channel. I am going to be streaming this live to Twitch under the username Willcall, and then uploading it to YouTube under the username Willcall100. As I said, this is the second run we've done in Farthest Frontier, or will be the second run we've done in Farthest Frontier. The first one was done on one of the early access builds. In fact, it was basically the last early access build. This one's on the first full release build, which is 1.0, so we're going to be playing around with the new tech tree. So yeah, this is on 1.0. So we're going to start up a new settlement. Obviously, the old settlement doesn't have a tech tree, and we could I suppose technically I could load that, but we're not going to do it. I'm going to stick to the medium difficulty. We're going to see if we can do a little bit better against the raiders than we did last time. I have a little bit less of a problem with them. Otherwise, I'm basically not going to change anything. We're going to run basically the same sort of thing, see if we can get a bit better of a start at the beginning and get it going a little bit faster. So Idyllic Village, Trailblazer, sort of the default settings here.
Life can be harsh everywhere, but in the old world, there was no hope of it ever improving. When our crops failed, the ruling class would still collect the same share, leaving our children to starve. And if we had any coin to our name, the taxman would appear, demanding it for the crown. The nobles hid behind the safety of their walls and did nothing when raiders pillaged the outskirts of the city. And so, some of us decided that it was time to leave, that we'd rather take our chances in the wilderness, seeking the promise of a new land, than starve to death in our homeland. The journey wasn't easy. We lost many along the way. This wild, unsettled land offers us the hope of a new start as the masters of our own destiny.
Okay, so that's the intro cinematic to the game. I think it's the only cinematic in the game, as far as I'm aware. And it sort of sets up the setting of why we're setting up this new settlement in the so-called Farthest Frontier. Although we're playing on a fairly easy, well, we're playing on sort of the moderate difficulty in the easiest starting preset, basically. So the Farthest Frontier is going to be fairly habitable. You can definitely have some harsher habitabilities going on. And feel free to let me know if the volume is terrible, balance-wise. I didn't mess around too much with the volume. Yeah, didn't mess around too much with the volume before getting started here. Because I remembered it was louder on the menu than it was in the game last time. So I brought up, we got fertility, we got desirability. Last time, we didn't really look where we put our settlement down. We just sort of settled near a body of water, which I think I'm prone to do again. That wasn't too bad last time. But this time I want to try not to set up the city on top of the local fertile land, so that we've got a good place to farm. Like that wouldn't be a bad place for industrial area. That's farm, or housing also. That's a pretty good farm area. Although we do have to run the balance of, we need the farm, we need the city area. The hill obviously is terrible for farming, but that's because it's not flat. So yeah, as you can kind of see here on the starting position, there's lots of fertile land, so it's going to be hard not to build on the fertile land, actually. So that's a raiding camp, so that's not a good place to set up. I needed that. So we're going to have to give that some space. Gotta be a little bit farther away from the fish, which will be the food over here from fish sort of standpoint. And same over here. Let's go ahead. Let's might settle in this area on sort of the bad land here. Or do I want to settle? Of course, it's not flat enough there, because that would be where I'm thinking of settling, huh? Yeah, I think I'm going to settle, like... Yeah, I'm kind of struggling with the problem of the fact that all the good land is... I'm trying to think about where I'd put the housing districts. Could put a housing district there or something. Yeah, I think this is the spot where we're going to go. Just, we can move this later, so we're going to pick a spot, because I think it's good enough. We're going to obviously have to be on some fertile land, because there's just so much fertile land that that's not negotiable. We are going to be able to look at the new tech tree as soon as we get our initial building here built. So we'll get some stuff signed for harvesting. I'm going to avoid harvesting the really big rock there for the moment. We are going to set this as prioritized so they clear that site quicker. Unlike last time, I am going to turn the speed up I'm going to turn the speed all the way up to full speed. So we can sort of power through the very early game here a little bit faster. And while it was sort of idyllic last time to be playing on a slow speed, I think... well, it's the slow speed, right? So we don't necessarily get through the game very fast that way. And we'd like to go a little faster, I'm thinking. Okay, so we're turning off the fertility for the moment. This is our starting area. We know we've got water over here, and we got water to basically the west and the east where we can do fishing. Our initial exploration circle here doesn't have any good fishing. We can technically set exploration points and people go out and explore, but we're not going to rush to do that. Actually, looking at it, I don't know if we're getting any good huntables in the area, which might become a problem. So I'll have to do some exploring just to find something to hunt. First thing I'm going to set up is actually some food production. Sadly, I don't see anything here to hunt, so we're going to be sort of just gathering for the moment. So we can gather some there, we can gather some there. Technically, these don't need to be, I don't need to place them right on the thing I'm going to gather. I can move the circles around, but for the moment we're just going to replace like that. Some time pass. Now that we've got the town hall built, we can come ahead and see the technology tree. So this is the technology tree. There's apparently 4 tiers to it. And right now, obviously, we can get from the first tier. That's why we can't unlock, say, the double-walled hives, because that's from the second tier. And it has a knowledge investment minimum. Probably what we're going to want to pick up first is, like, national philosophy. To get the extra knowledge generation so we can get the tech going a little bit faster. Probably focusing on research speed as soon as we can. When we can. That's how we're going to work with the tree here. Otherwise, we're mostly going to go for things that we think is good for us. Some of these are multi-invest, so the defensive barricades has more than one level to it. I've barely looked at the tree. I've basically looked at the bottom row. And noticed some stuff that is interesting, like wood lore, is extra resources per gather node, some work speed stuff, and that sort of stuff, right? But obviously, for the moment, we don't have any knowledge. So there's now this new knowledge stat that we use to pick up points in the tech tree. That, as you can tell, I think there are more ways to increase this, but for the moment, we're getting 1 point every 6 months. The tech tree does appear to be pretty big, yeah. The tree is pretty big. And it has more than just unlocks in it. It has modifiers as well. In fact, it's mostly modifiers. So in the last build we were playing, most of the stuff in the thing was not just... It was like, get to tier 2 and now you can build the thing. Now it's... A lot more of it is actually locked behind doing something researched in the tree. But even that is a sort of a minority of what it looks of it in the tree. Okay, so we've got one of you down. You're complaining about lack of firewood, but that's fine. That's not too much problem. Okay, we can see we've got a huntable over there. Let's go ahead and get a hunting cabin up to go hunt that. And then start working on some houses. We're gonna need at least, I think it's 4 houses to, well, I think it's like 3 houses or something like that to house everyone. And for the moment, the positioning of these don't really matter. We can move these later. Okay, so now we can go ahead and sign your area. Get them go hunting the deer over there. Oh, and there's more deer over there. Okay. Guessing we'd harvested all the... No, there's a bunch of trees out there. I was about to say, maybe... Oh, that selection is working weirdly. Try to click on the building site and it's defaulting to one of the houses instead. That's a hitbox issue. I know you just started. Are you aware of any new changes that came since the last time you played? Outside of the tech tree, no. Well, I know... Well, I think there's, like, bridges now, for example. There's bridges, there's the tech tree, and there's some other stuff in the tech tree that's... I haven't necessarily poked around too much. And the stuff associated with the tech tree, I think. Construct this building to your knowledge, okay. 4 more people wait to join your settlement to amass 4 months of supply and 6 houses. So it's telling me to build some houses. We're not actually going to immediately rush to do that. I want to get some resource production. Get a firewood spitter. And a well. So that we got some way to deal with fire. Fire starts up. Okay, so we're able to select that, so that's fine. Get some more hunting going over there. Apparently there's some hunting down here. How many jobs do I have already? I've got 4 jobs. So I've got about a third of the village already employed. Okay, everyone's old enough apparently to work, so that's good. But yeah, we're going to want to get some more housing going as soon as we got the well and the fire chopping going. And see how I'm getting in the warning for, oh, the village is critically low on firewood. It's like, yeah, we just built the fire chopper. Give them some time. Yeah, we know east and west we're going to have some water that we can do some fishing in. And we know there's like a bandit camp up to the north here. So I suppose while I'm waiting for stuff to build, we can go pick through the building tree to see if there's anything new that we haven't picked up yet. So apparently it's pointing out that some of these buildings help us with earning knowledge. So I'm guessing either the building that building will give us knowledge or increase the rate is what that's implying. The new discovery there. Library makes sense for that, I suppose. The monuments are new. Economic achievements and success in the Untamed Frontier. So that's the economic monument and the military monument. The civic monuments are new, I know. Looks like the standard building's there. Haven't seen any new ones in the food one, so it looks like the food's the same. I think that's the same list of buildings for resources, just at a quick glance. Yeah, the defensive ones look the same. Nothing different in roads. Looks like there's a little bit more variety in decoration, which wouldn't surprise me. Not gonna hover all the ones we don't have unlocked just to figure out what unlocks them, but this definitely does appear to be a little bit more in the decorations. We've got everyone housed. Let's go build some roads before we start making a lot more jobs. And I'm thinking walling in the town center separately this time, which is why I have the town center off in a little bit space between us and the rest of the town there. Oh, it's telling me I've got some knowledge now. So let's go and invest that in natural philosophy to get plus 20% base knowledge generation there. Here we go. We've gone and used it. 20% more. We were running, I think, one every 6 months, and now it's one every 5 months. Looks like we have some huntables to the south. Let's go get another hunter going for that direction as well. Okay, we can accept these people in. This is going to give us a big boost in our population. We're probably at the point where we want to get some more housing going because of that population influx. And then much like the last run, I think the thing we're going to be building up to is, early on, is building up to the market. So we need to get a saw pit going, we need to get a storehouse going. Bustling market would help generate gold, yeah. So it's directing me to build the market at this point. Be people don't want to live near the smokehouse. We're going to put this over next to our woodcutter's place. We got over there, which is another building they don't necessarily want to live next to. Maybe want to start farming into this area. We'll see. Well, we're probably not going to start farming for a little bit at least. I think that was one of the mistakes maybe we did last time as I started the farming. At least, well, started the farming in bad fertility land a little too early. So we're going to get that smokehouse. Let's start building the storage as well. I think this is a storage I can probably get away with putting outside of the mold area. So that's going to be mostly larger resource stockpiling. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of chopping, which is why we did come up fairly close to the forest here. So we just chopped the nearby forest. Oh, there is a boar over there. Cognizant of. A bunch of harvestables over there, so we should probably get another gathering post. They're not gathering anything down here, so yeah, we can definitely get more gathering going. Although I should probably finish building what I've actually got queued up first, before we put more gathering posts down. Looks like everyone's shuffling inside to shelter from the cold here as the snow begins to come down. New villagers immigrated, new villagers are born. So we're going to be wanting some more housing. Because this game has snow in it, I think I'm going to be uploading this as 30 frames per second instead of 60. Because the bitrate on the snow can be a bit harsh on the upload times, is what I was finding out in the last run. Yes, this is a fairly beautiful game. We do have a dead villager. What guy again? Villager died of what reason? From exposure. Okay, so while I have enough firewood, apparently it wasn't adequately delivered to that location. So we're gonna have to build, somewhat annoyingly, we're gonna have to build an early. Well, I don't necessarily have to build what I'm going to build. We're gonna build ourselves a graveyard here. We had a couple of people who died to the unseasonable cold, apparently. That's another point of knowledge. Let's actually do a little bit of poking around in the tree here. So right now we can pick up access to wood lore, which is more resources gathering per forage source. We can reduce the work required to make our fish and meat smoked Make the fish replenish faster. So for the moment, I think we don't need to bother with those two. Fertility loss from planted crops. We don't have crops yet. Speed of farm field work. Again, we don't have crops yet. Tax generated from within range of market. We're working towards that. We don't have that yet. Reduced chance of spread for disease is going to be tempting. I might come back and pick that up. Defensive stuff, damage for villagers, armor for villagers, line of sight. Work to produce shoes. Work to mine stone deposits. That's actually applicable right now, so we might pick that one up. Work to produce various consumer goods. Tree felling speed. So I think it's a toss-up between those two. We're going to go with the tree felling speed. Because a lot of our early building is going to be made out of wood. And we currently got no wood stockpiled, so it is very much... we need wood to build things, to keep the houses warm, to smoke the meat, sort of thing going on at the moment. Even as much as I kind of need the stone to get the graveyard going. Get these two people buried, which were also was kind of rushed up. Although I maybe don't need as much stone as initially I'm thinking, because we've got enough stone. We'll remove this target. We don't need that much stone for the moment. We've almost got the 57 stone. It's just clearing the site at this point. As we're going, we are seeing that we do have some resource deposits. We've got sand and gold. So when we get to tier 2 and can start mining, we've got access to those. We got a deep iron, which in the long run will be great. In the short run, it's kind of worthless because tier 4 is a long way away. And I'm still thinking where I'm going to put that marketplace. I think we're going to have to obviously put it over some of the fertile land, because I'm looking at the fertile land here. Well, the infertile land. The infertile land would kind of be okay for putting the neighborhood on, except it's probably also right now where I want to put the industry district. And we keep the industry and the housing separate, because people don't like being near like the smokehouse and stuff like that. So I need some separation between the two. And the answer here, because of how much fertile land is available, is they are probably going to have to be on top of, or going to have to separate them. I'm going to have to put some on the higher fertility land, is I think what's going to go and happen. Yeah, so we'll have enough stone to get the graveyard set up without having to harvest the really big block, which will take a lot of work hours. And I'm a little bit more interested in food for the moment. So let's go get some more forager shacks, right? We're going to want to do some foraging down here. In fact, I might just put the shack down here. Like so. I think I want more foraging up in the upper right there. And maybe even the upper left. The greens there wouldn't be too bad. Nope, we have a guy who
to be done?
didn't die, but is bleeding to death, I think is what's going on there. I think that's what that's showing. wounded and will soon die and do not take into a healer, and we do not have a healer, so... Rest in peace, another casualty in our poor little village here. Oh, and I can probably get some more hunting down there. Okay, let's go do that as well. I don't see a wolf den, it's just a lone wolf, but a lone wolf can still be sufficiently deadly, apparently. The predators are attacking. Although this time, the hunter wasn't able to manage to get this one before it became a problem. Hopefully that's far enough away that that doesn't become a problem. We are getting complaints about lack of bow and arrows, so let's... Can I get that set up? It's gonna be resources, right? I need the saw pit first, okay. So maybe a lot of hunters was a bad idea because we were out of arrows, but... Storage, so we'll need to get more types of variety of storage up. We're gonna want to get the storehouse up. I think the storehouse stores gold, so we're gonna want to make that in the inner city area, I think. Whereas the other one that we're gonna be building is the root cellar, which people don't mind living near the root cellar, so we're gonna build that a little bit closer to people. And obviously it stores food, so we don't need to be worried about bandits trying to steal stuff from the root cellar. I hope. Yeah, there's some stone down there and some loose trees. And that should provide the stone to get that going. Put these put together pretty quickly. Okay, we got another knowledge. Go into the tech tree. And I think we'll take the stone cutting this time. Maybe work on the forage next. So we get a little more forage coming in. So at least until we get our industry going, we're not going to be able to expand hunting very much more. We haven't expanded enough to get to the fishing areas nearby either. So yeah, stores mostly raw materials, firewood, wood planks, logs, stone, the ores. And the first stockyard we built, we're building a storehouse which will store basically everything. We're going to tell it not to store stuff that we can store in the other ones. We got the root cellar here, which stores basically all the food stuff. We got a storehouse that we're in the process of building so we can get enough wood harvested for it. And then we're probably going to be refocusing on some resource production with the saw pit after that. So we can actually get some planks coming in. Okay, so that's the raider camp over there. Just about see it on the horizon there. And yeah, I think I want to do like 2 housing districts diagonal. Kind of like we did last time. I haven't adjusted that one yet. Let's get that one adjusted. Actually set up the exploration flag. See if we can get them exploring towards the lakes. Does it move it when I do it? No, I can do multiple. Okay. So we got one in the west, one in the east. We'll see how that exploration goes. And the graveyard was first constructed in year 2, and since then we've got 3 people buried in it. This is, I think, a bigger one than we had last time. The last one was big enough to house all the dead we had, getting all the way up to a size of 500 city. So hopefully that will last successfully that long as well. So here's the storehouse. As you can see, this stores basically everything. We're not going to have it hold everything. I do actually, looking at this is missing some stuff. It doesn't have the raw materials. It doesn't hold all the produced materials either, so it doesn't hold like firewood and stuff. Okay. No firewood, no planks. It does hold... Actually, it holds a different selection of raw materials than the food storage does down here. That's got honey, herbs, and medicinal fruits. So let's not store the medicinal fruits. Herbs or honey there either. And then we don't want to store food here. We want all the food to be in the food storage. Yeah, the saw pit is the next building I really want to build. I'm going to move the buildings probably eastward once we build the town center. So I'm not actually too worried about the fact that this is causing a desirability balance here. That's fine. In fact, that gives me a good idea of probably want to be building the industry district going leftward from here instead of rightward, because I'm thinking the edge of the neighborhood is actually going to be to the right of where our current houses are. But yeah, we're gonna set this as a desirability malice for the moment. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. So now in theory we have production for everything we need to build the market. So we're kind of looking like a market that's going to look something like this area. Yeah, I think that will work reasonably well. Yeah, that should work reasonably well right about there. And then we're going to want some roads. Oops. Screw that one up. Oh, and the exploration flag was far enough away for me to find where the lake was over there, so that's nice. Oh, and it was enough over here as well. Okay. So we do know where both of the lakes are if we want to start fishing. Which I probably will want to do. The smokehouse smokes both fish and meat. So if we can provide it both, we can get more stable food sources for stockpiling purposes. Where is your assignment? Your assignment is there, and yes, I do agree. Apparently, the herds that you were hunting have moved and aren't there anymore. So we should reassign you to a different location. Whatever happened caused those ones to move. Okay, so we're gonna assign you over there. We might. We know there's deer there, so that should be fine. Oh, and we have another knowledge point, so I should go ahead and spend that, I think. We are in the process of building that market, so actually getting the increased tax rate would be a little tempting. And it looks like to upgrade the market center stuff, we do probably need to pick up that tax rate. Although we might not go for commerce no negotiation and convenience tax here for quite a while. Those don't. Those might be good in the long run, but in the short run, I think they're not going to be good. So we'll pick up that first one, get a little bit more tax rate. And we'll probably take the second tier of that as soon as we can as well. Okay, and we're now in year 3. No extra deaths. We had all the deaths like the end of year 1. We managed to not have anyone die since then. Although I could definitely see something going wrong with hunters, and the hunters getting jumped by a wolf or something, because we are low on hunter gear. So I think all the roads are now made, except for that one's not done yet. Or maybe it is. I should be able to select it if it was done. So no, it's not done. I'm a little bit trying to select the road, and I suspect that's because I've got something on it, like a tree that's not done. Oh no, there's a build side. So yeah, I'm just selecting the build side to work. So yeah, those 2 roads are still working on them. We're obviously still needing planks for the town center, or for the market center. So we're gonna put one there, and I think later on we'll put another one here. And those will be our 2 main housing areas. And if we get population density like we did last time, that'll house 500 people pretty easily. Okay, so both roads are done. So let's get a little bit of housing. Let's get the housing moved and the housing built while we're waiting for those planks to be made. Okay, that house is done, so we can probably go ahead and start moving them. And for the moment, we're just going to move them like one at a time, which is a little bit slow, but we also aren't necessarily being rewarded for having them where I want them in final arrangement because we don't have the marketplace yet. Okay, let's move. Let's move the next one. And then this area over here will probably end up as the sort of centralized storage area to split up the industry. Well, also there'll be some industry that people don't mind living by, and that'll probably end up in this area as well. So this will be sort of storage and pleasant industry is maybe a good way to think about it. And then our less pleasant is going to sort of get pushed up against the forest here. And I just got the achievement for getting 5 knowledge points, telling us we've got another knowledge point to use. Once again, we're going to go upgrade the tax rate coming off of that town center, the marketplace going. And then I think we'll go probably the yield one, the wood, or the harvesting yield from the forageables next. Is it not flat enough there? There is the ability to do some flattening, which we will do. It's a little labor intensive, which is, well, if we can get away without doing it, why we don't do it. So now that's flat enough, we can get that house there. And what do you want? You want the market, 8 shelters, which we have, and 30 population. So I suppose saving up the 60 wood planks to upgrade the town center is actually going to be the next goal after the market's done here. And in theory, I think the stuff's already being shipped to finish that marketplace, so that shouldn't be too long now. Nope, we got another knowledge point. So yeah, let's start working up the wood lore here. It looks like trailblazing will require all 3 points in wood lore. Speed for foragers will off-road, speed for hunters will off-road, forager work radius. Yeah, okay. Can I move the well? I can move the well. I may move the well at some point. Or actually, no, I'll probably just build another well, because we probably do want a well over here in the industry section. Things like the tanner are going to need access to water. Okay, apparently we haven't had a whole month since the market's done yet. It is in theory generating a revenue of 7 gold right now. So we are in fact making money. Okay, so with that, we basically got everyone moved into the new neighborhood. More people, 8 new people. We'll hit accept. We already got the houses for them once they're built. They're basically built, although they just need to get moved. Is basically what's happening there. We'll build some space. So we got some housing space for people that aren't in the village, so we can keep the population growing. So people probably would like some new clothes and some new shoes, but otherwise everyone is fairly happy. And I think this is a good place to put a part break in. If you're watching on YouTube, we will continue this run. I'm going to try to record 5, maybe 6 parts today of about 30 to 40 minutes long. So we just did a 36-minute long part here, including the intro video, or the introduction to the city sort of video. Intro cinematic. That's what I was trying to mean. So I hope you've all been enjoying. If you're watching on YouTube, they'll be put up tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, I'm going to take a short break just to stretch the legs and sip a little bit of tea so I can keep the voice going. I've mostly recovered from the sort of nose thing that I had coming back from the break, but hopefully that's not affecting the voice too much. So until the next part, I'm going to head and wish you all the best of luck, a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.